Welcome to Toon'd, everybody. Thank you again for joining us. Today we're sitting down with Tara Strong. You know her from the Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans Go, and many, many more. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And the crowd went wild. Thank you.
But that's not where we met, is it?
Who to what?
That's not where we met, is it?
No. Well, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, where did we meet?
You were 10.
No.
Well, she looked 10. No,
No.
it was at, I think, was it ICM? Or was it
Yeah?
DPN yet?
Oh, yeah, that's possible. Still
Yeah.
ICM.
Yeah, because it
But
was
when's
ICM.
the first time we worked together?
Oh, okay.
Was it 101?
Maybe, yeah. I played Bad Dog or something. But, I have no idea. It's all the same day at this point.
I was a chicken.
Yeah.
I was a chicken that thought she was a dog.
I remember, you had an odd character.
Yeah, she literally in the character description, it said she's very hyperactive. She's a chicken who thinks she's a dog, and like high
Typical.
energy and like a lot of like anxiety. But she wanted to be one of the dogs. And like right before the audition, I called my mom and I'm like in Toronto. And I'm like, would it be funny if like every time she has a P or a B, she gets stuck on it? Like, I can put up with the grilling jokes, the chicken bake references, even you asking me why every time I cross the road. And do all these like weird little, she's like, yes, do that. And then that booked the part.
I got chills. I remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember that first day because first of all, I just moved here from Toronto 2 years prior. And even though I was very successful there, getting my feet grounded here was challenging. I was like eviction notice broke for a little while. And the first job I did here was given to me by the woman that gave me my very first job when I was 13.
Wow.
Was Marcia Goodman, who gave me Hello Kitty.
Oh, sure.
And
I remember.
which
from
was
Deke.
literally the start of my career.
Wow.
And she called me up and she's like, hey, we're doing Gadget Boy and Heather. Would you come be Heather? I'm like, yes. She saved me. And then 101 was one of my first that I like booked outright here. And I was sitting in the room with you and E.G. Daly and Kat Susie and Pam Siegel and Jeff Bennett and all these like gods. And then they played everyone's ref from the audition.
Reference,
Because, when you go and you book a job. I'm sorry, I've totally like railroaded your show.
No,
it's my
please,
show now.
jump away. No. That's good. That's good.
See you later, everybody.
I'll just cop a squad. You're doing great. They'd rather listen and see you than see or listen. You got it.
Well, anyway, for those who don't know, when you audition and you book the part, often you've given a couple different takes and you don't know which one they picked. Also, it's not really in your head. I just booked something that I auditioned for 6 months ago.
Ooh.
So it's like not in my head what I did
not at
exactly.
all.
So they play the ref, which means they play the reference for you, what you did, what booked the part. And so they played everyone's and then they played mine and none of you knew who I was. And all of you went, like, looked at me. And Pam Siegel was sitting beside me. I'll never forget it. She goes, you're in a room full of greats and you just blew everyone's socks.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
I love that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And now you are a room full of greats. That's so good. Oh my gosh. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the way down from what the Powerpuffs, you got a pretty ridiculous resume.
Yeah. Don't you find it pretty phenomenal when, there's a group of us and maybe really not that many, maybe 10, right?
Yeah.
That have booked,
I was going to be generous and say maybe a dozen.
Maybe, right? That have booked multiple roles that have really impacted people in a big way around the world. For sure, for you, it's Pooh and a bunch of other things you've done. But like, I think when you're doing it, you don't realize the kind of impact it has until you go to cons and you see people crying and say like, you're the reason I'm alive,
Yeah. I mean, I've had stories that'll put you on your knees.
Me too.
It's like, really? Wow. I feel like you're giving me too much credit, but I'll take it. And as long as it made you happy and made you, it was like a lifeline to some people.
A lot of people.
You never know. No,
you don't. And I think our predecessors didn't know because there was no internet, when Mel Blancs was running the show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not that people didn't know who he was, but now visually they know who we are because of the internet
Because
and
of
blah,
this.
blah, blah, and this stuff. Yeah.
Stuff like this.
Yeah. And that recognition, because, if you're doing a play, if you're doing something live, pretty quickly if people are appreciating your work.
yeah.
If you're selling albums, you're doing well. If
yeah.
you're on a TV show and the ratings are high, you're doing well. But animation people, we don't get a lot of feedback from Hollywood or even love from Hollywood
We're sitting in a room.
Yeah. And so to get it from the fans, I think is one of the most rewarding things about this career.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure we could swap some good stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a quick one.
Okay.
I hope you guys have heard this a lot. Anyway, no, but there was a young boy who years ago, his parents contacted me and said, I'll just call him Billy. And they said, well, is there any chance that I can get you on the phone with my kid, Billy? He's 7 and or like 10. And I said, sure. Well, he to say that he's a fan is I can't even tell you. But he goes, let me ask you real quick though. Were you the guy that on the Rust-Oleum commercial? And I go, yeah. He goes, how about the Havoline commercial, motor oil? And I said, yeah. He goes, damn. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, anyway, can we call you at 10 o'clock Saturday morning? Yeah. So I call him up. He calls up and said, are you ready? We're going to put Billy on the phone. Billy, it's your friend, Jim Cummings. So he gets on the phone and he goes, hello, it's me. Now, I think that you should do the voice of Bonker Steve Bobcat, who is, of course, the very first Toon'd detective, and he works out of the Hollywood division in the Toon'd division. And I said, oh, okay, well, gee, here's Bonkers. Good. Now I think that you should do the voice of Lucky Piquel, his human counterpart, who, of course, works out of the same Hollywood division, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Bonkers, what did I... Good. Now I think that you should do the voice of the street vendor who had a hurdy-gurdy, and he was, I believe, of Nordic persuasion, perhaps Swedish. And I went, well, sit the fella there that way. Good. Now, and we went and we did this for about 45 minutes. And
wow,
I said,
that's patient.
yes, yeah. And it was a Saturday, and I said, okay, is your dad there? Can I talk to your mom or dad? Because boy, I'm running out of memory bank here. And the dad gets on the phone and he says, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I really mean, his mother wants to talk to you. Oh, and she gets on, oh my God. And she's crying her eyes out. And I said, oh my gosh, well, don't worry about it. It's okay. She goes, I had no idea he would be doing this. I apologize. This is a complete. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. He's kids are chatterboxes. I would have been the same way if I got to talk to Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. She goes, no, that's not it. Billy doesn't speak.
What?
And I said, this chatterbox? You cannot shut this kid up? Him? Are we talking about the same Billy? She goes, well, he used to, but it hasn't been in 7 years. He was like maybe 3.5, and he just quit talking.
Wow.
It was autistic, And I said, wow, okay. Well, and then I just, I'm humbled. I don't know what to say. And she says, and his dad gets on the phone, and he said, this is so great because we have 2 video cameras going here, the old VHS. And he said, we could take this to his therapist and we could say, you know what, Billy, you do speak. You talk to your friend, Jim Cummings. And he's a buddy of mine to this day. And he wrote a book and he's in his 30s now, something like that. He wrote some kind of a book, My Journey Out of Silence So yeah, you never know.
I have one like that, almost
Yeah,
like that. This
yeah.
girl was talking a lot. She was dressed as Raven. I love that story, by the way. It's so beautiful that you did that.
Yeah.
And she was, and I look over and I see her mom bawling.
Oh.
And I'm sure, like you, a lot of people cry when they meet me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, is she okay? And I went over to check on her. And same thing. She said, my daughter hasn't spoken in 5 years. And when she heard you were coming, she hasn't shut up. And I'm like, wow, that's like beautiful that we have,
Yeah. Jeez,
going to cons and meeting people and doing stuff like that is the reward of this job.
Yeah.
The money's nice, but being able to affect people in that way is such a beautiful reward.
Yeah, you never know. You just don't know. Certain things just poke through. And it was explained to me that I guess his doctor was explaining to him. He says some people see the world as if the door is completely wide open and they can walk through, and certain people see the door through this crack.
Yeah.
And he just said you were on the other side of his crack.
Yeah. That could be interpreted an entirely different way.
Came out wrong, but you guys know what I
Jim,
meant.
You
know
were
what I
on
meant.
the other side of his crack.
Yes, yeah. God, I hope it was the right side. Okay, good night, everybody. Tara Strong, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So what's keeping you busy? What's keeping you happy?
Well, we're very lucky the strike is not affecting voiceover.
Yeah.
So we're really lucky to still be doing animation. So I'm still doing Teen Titans Go and a really, really beautiful show called Gabby's Dollhouse.
Oh.
It's for little kids and it's the cutest show I've ever seen in my life. It's just, and I was a Powerpuff Girl.
My daughter loves it.
Isn't it the cutest show ever?
Where is it?
It's at Gabby's Dollhouse. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I think, I can't remember where it's streaming, but it's like, it's just the cutest show ever. So that I'm doing, and then I've been working on this video game for Harley for like, I don't know if you're in it, but it's like the longest.
Wow.
It's been like a few years.
No kidding.
It's a Suicide Squad game.
Oh.
So I'm really stoked for that to come out,
That's
which will
cool.
be soon. Yeah,
That's
I
cool
work
as
a lot, and then the cons. I mean, I've been going almost every other weekend.
Yeah. I've gotten not a rut, but a cycle of like 6 in a row, and it's
Yeah,
little.
it really is.
Wearying.
Yeah, I think people don't really understand because like, oh, you're just signing autographs. Well, you and I don't just sign autographs.
Yeah,
we
I've seen you.
give our life's blood.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
give it for sometimes 8 hours. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and I'm happy and awake and up and giving all day, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I'm like, blah. Like
Well, I've
I'm
seen-
nothing left.
Well, first of all, her lines never stop, and and oftentimes I'll be like, "Oh man, I got to go to the bathroom." I'll go and I'll walk through a con, and there's Tara sitting over there, and she's sitting up there like on a queen, like a queen on top of the table, and people are, and all the guys are,
Yeah.
jeepers,
Yeah.
you're sure pretty,
Yeah,
They
do that. They do that. They're so cute.
Yeah, it's so funny. So come check her out at the next con, and she'll be so pretty.
I mean, I will.
So see,
Yeah.
Which one of your characters, Tara, surprises you that has connected with people so much? Which characters surprise you? You go, oh, really? That one connected with you?
Well, I'd say like the biggest are Raven and Harley and Twilight Sparkle in very big global ways. But they're surprising in the magnitude, but not in their character. Certainly Twilight Sparkle was the biggest surprise. This is a show originally designed for young girls.
Yeah.
And then it spoke to people of all ages, of all races, of all genders around the world. And like, people were like, I had no friends till My Little Pony, or I don't know what it is, but I can't stop watching it. And like, it's this completely unknown, unpredictable, beautiful fandom. For sure, the loudest fandom I've ever experienced, and the sweetest.
That is
these,
so cool.
These people are the first to donate to any charity and help each other out, and really wonderful. So I'm no longer surprised by that, although initially that was the most surprising. I think now the one that surprises me, if I'll go like to the UK and there's like 1 million Ben 10 fans. Like these people have been like clutching their Ben 10 watch for a decade waiting to meet me.
Wow.
And Final Fantasy, that has a very long fandom that surprised me. People were like, that was my game. Were you on that?
That's a big name. Yeah,
We were
I
on
think
that.
so,
It's like
yeah.
a big game that people really love.
Yeah.
So when I get extra love for Ben 10 or Final Fantasy, it's a little bit more of a surprise. Like everyone they want a Bubbles print or a Harley print or a Raven print or the print with all my characters on it.
Oh yeah.
Or Timmy Turner, which they released a
Yeah.
pop this year. They finally released a Timmy Turner pop at Comic-Con. That's what I
that's
sign
cool.
the most at cons. You probably sign a lot of pops too.
Yeah. There's 1,000 poos.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't you
Yeah.
wouldn't think so, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's like, psychedelic poo,
Yeah.
poo on acid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, there's really one that kind
on acid.
of looks like it. He's multicolored and he's sitting there. It's like, are you sure? Okay. I don't know.
I think it's about time we had a Jim Cummings pop vinyl, don't you think, Tara?
Yeah, I think so. Well, Rob has one. And there's a place. Where is that place?
It's in Hollywood. You can go get
Where
one
you
made
go and
yourself.
get one made?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been there?
No.
They probably have you on. I just did their show.
Insane.
It's like when you go do their show, they walk you through after and you get all kinds of presents.
Oh, cool.
And it's like going to like a Hollywood like museum thing. Like there's huge pops and like, yeah, there's a million to me too. There's like a million Harleys and a million Ravens. And then the Miss Minutes pop is arguably the coolest pop I've ever seen. It's like
which one?
Huge. Miss Minutes from Loki.
Oh.
It's gigantic.
Yeah. Oh, that's a cool one.
It's really cool. And when you jump to the MCU, it's a whole other thing. Like I was doing with you Marvel animation for decades and people don't care that much.
Yeah.
But when you jump into the cinematic universe, it's next level. It's like, oh wow, you're in the MCU.
Yeah.
And I got to do two things. I got to do Miss Minutes and I got to do Mainframe in the last Guardians movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it took over from Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It was really cool to see my name run under Stallone. I was like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I hope they make a Ravagers movie since they're supposedly not doing any more Guardians. That would be kind of fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
The first movie that I was ever in, I had 3 lines. It was bullet number 2 in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And
No way.
yeah, that was my very first.
Was it a loop group?
No, it was. I went for an official. I can't remember.
You auditioned for bullet number 2.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was weird, and and it was just awesome. And I got to do that, and my name was right under Frank Sinatra.
Isn't that fun?
I was like, oh, okay. No, it was right above it. So my joke at the time was that I got top billing over Frank
Hey.
Sinatra.
I think people don't realize how much we still geek out over things that we book or get to do. I was just on an on-camera series in Toronto, and it aired on Netflix. And there's a picture, and what do you call those like shots? What do they call the thumbnails?
Oh,
for
yeah.
the show was me in a bathtub, right? And right under is Johnny Depp, and I'm like, I'm in a bathtub on top of Johnny Depp. Like I was like, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, I wouldn't want to trade places with you, but I'll trade places with him. So yeah.
Anyway.
God.
But we do. We still geek out when we book stuff and when we
yeah.
book cool stuff, or when you get asked back to do something that you thought was gone for a long time, like Rugrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot beat that. You cannot beat that.
Something you and Jim do, Tara, with your work is you take people back to their childhood and remind them what it's like to be a kid again. What takes you back to your childhood? Whether it be something you see, a book you read, or something you smell? What takes you back to being a kid again?
I'm so late to the party, but I just watched the Barbie movie today. I just
Oh,
finished.
really?
I just finished it this morning before my gig. We were traveling so much.
Well, you
that
could have been in that easily.
We couldn't get to the theater, and I was like, I know I'm missing something special. And if you wait a very long time when something's so hyped, by the time you see it, you're like, it's probably overrated.
Yeah.
What a brilliant, perfect movie. Like, I laughed so much, and I was really thrust into my childhood. Like, all those toys in the opening scenes, all those toys we played with, right? And so to see it from like their perspective, or to see how it would look if a doll was actually watching the action when she like jumps out of her house, the way you pick up a doll and bring it down. And I was like, this is really weird. And then I'd see a toy or an outfit. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I had that.
Yeah.
That was really fun for me. Animation wise, I was a big fan of the Flintstones. And I got to play Pebbles on something once, and I was like pinching myself to see Pebbles Tara Strong like on the script.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like a pilot or a game. It was something very short lived, but it was still fun.
But it was still fun
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you still got to be Pebbles.
Yeah. But
Pebbles.
there's lots of things that I watch, and also now going to Comic-Cons is a really big sort of childhood boost and like memory and heart thing, because we see people that we grew up with that were like that was my childhood, was watching this show or that show.
Oh, yeah.
Because pop culture exists at these cons in a way
you
that
bet.
no other place. Like you go in the green room and you're hanging out with huge stars from our childhood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's
It's really
William
fun.
Shatner over there munching down some pizza. And,
I just hung out with Christy Brinkley, and
Oh,
when I was
wow.
a kid and I saw Vacation, I was like, I'm gonna be that pretty. Like one day I want to be that pretty. And like,
congratulations.
and we're hanging out. And I don't know if you saw, we did this TikTok.
Yeah.
And I go, I'm
that's
going to be the prettiest girl at the party, which is like this trending sound on TikTok, which is Bubbles.
That's
and she
great.
comes in and
Yes.
she's like, no. And she still looks amazing. She's like 70.
Yeah, I've seen her at something.
She looks amazing.
About a year or two
and she's
ago.
the nicest, smartest, kindest. We like hit it off so much. And it's like, wow, like I totally idolized her as a kid, and to like hang out with her and make videos about how pretty we are was kind of surreal.
Okay. You can live through that.
Yeah.
More of that, please.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun.
Wow.
I like going to cons.
See, she never hangs out with me and tells me how pretty I am.
I'll introduce you.
Okay, good.
I'll say, don't
You're
you
close
think Pooh's the prettiest girl at the party?
That's right.
And she'll go, Pooh. She'll do something sexy.
I'll give her a smack roll
Oh, okay.
of honey.
Okay.
So
Okay. All right.
How
got
many
that
times do you
going
think
for
you've
me.
said the word smackerel, Jim, in your life?
a bagrillion times.
I'm surprised you don't have your drumstick.
Well, I've got my drums. They're up there. Yeah, somewhere. I think they're in the attic.
I feel like Jim's
unfortunately.
drumsticks are more famous than Jim. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
where's the drumsticks, Jim?
Yeah, he
where are my
always used to
drumsticks?
carry them to
Yeah, I do.
jobs.
I have them in my knapsack because I'm getting ready to leave town.
Yeah.
But I can't leave home without your drumsticks.
Right.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I said that,
Yeah.
I'd probably have a quarter.
There you
But
go. There you go.
but yeah.
Speaking of inspiration, though, Tara, how inspirational for your Harley Quinn voice was Arlene Sorkin?
Well, one of the other things that really put me on the map when I first moved to town, one was 101 Dalmatians that we did together, because it was a guaranteed 100 episodes, and that never happens. We get maybe 6 now, or 12,
Yeah.
like 13
Well,
or
that
whatever
never
it is.
happens, yeah.
26, 100
It used to
guaranteed.
be 65 was your tops.
Right. And then the Powerpuff Girls, which was a huge hit, and also at the same time, around the same time, booking Batgirl. And to like book that part was a huge deal. Like that waiting room was stacked with on camera and voiceover legends, and it was very surreal. Like I remember my agent leaving a message on my answering machines, like, "Oh my God, you're her, you're the Bat, you're the girl that's the Bat, you're Batgirl." And I was
that's
like, "Oh my
good.
God!" And I'm sitting next to Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. I'm like,
Yeah.
"What the hell is happening
Whoa,
right now?"
okay.
Yeah, and they were both so good. I was
Yeah.
about to swear. Are we allowed to swear on this show?
Yeah.
They're both so fucking good, like, and a lot of times when A-listers drop into voiceover, sometimes they're good, but sometimes they're really not.
Yeah, sometimes they're.
And Hamill is one of those that's built for both. Like,
Oh, yeah.
he was just so good.
Yeah, he's really good.
And also, Arlene would come. And I remember being very enamored by her. First of all, she was very beautiful. Harley was not a character conceived in comic books.
Oh.
They decided to give Joker a sidekick. And they were watching like Days of Our Lives, and Bruce Timm and Paul Dini saw her. She was dressed as like a harlequin, like a clown. And they're like, let's make that the Joker's little sidekick girlfriend. And so that character was inspired from her as a human. Didn't exist till they saw her and hired her. And also her voice was so cute. Like sometimes when she'd talk, it would just sort of sound like Harley. And she had like a very unique performance to everything she did. Like, you'd normally see a line and say, oh, that could be read this way, but she'd read it just a little bit different. And she had
Wow.
these cute little like speaks to
Quirky.
her voice and quirky things. And I remember like being quite enamored watching her. And then they brought me in to do the video games because they wanted something vocally different. And they still wanted it to honor her original creation, but sort of make it my own, which was terrifying. This is
Yeah.
already a very beloved character
Yeah.
and a very beloved
Yeah,
actress.
could do the same thing, only different.
And hopefully people will like it. And it was really scary. And thankfully
worked.
people did. Yeah, I
Yeah, it
feel
really
very connected to Harley. She's like
Yeah.
my girl. I get really pissed off when other people play her now.
Oh, well, I, do
like it.
too.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I often think of the guys who started the Turtles, the four of them. And how many turtles? We're up to about 25 sets of Ninja Turtles now.
I
You
mean,
know.
it's one reason to love like character voices at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you book Mickey, you're Mickey till you die. If you book and you get to do all the shows and the video games and the
Yeah.
toys and the parks, and then
Oh, I
people
agree.
connect with that voice. And I think changing it up all the time, unless there's a problem. No voice actor, just so people know, go, I don't really feel like doing that anymore. If your character is alive and breathing, you want to be doing
Yeah.
it. And when they just decide for choice or because they want a bigger celebrity in it, or it's kind of devastating to the performer that helped it become successful.
I could not agree with you more.
Yeah.
You know, I think Gina McSwain used to say it's like TV Guide casting or such and such Screen Gem magazine casting, you know.
Yeah.
Who's hot now? Okay, well, you're the new blah, blah. And Warner Brothers, they were a little bit guilty of that, you know. You know, you'd be sitting around doing a Tiny Toons or Animaniacs and has anybody got a good Burt Lancaster or you know, John Wayne or somebody, somebody, some famous person. And it was just whoever was in the room.
Right.
Instead of having like a rotating or a steady person that you went to. And and they would even do that with like name brand characters like Sylvester. If there was some Sylvester, somebody was doing Sylvester for a series, but he wasn't there. Well, we'll just get someone else for today, you know. And it's like
super weird.
You can't. It's not the same. Whereas Disney, I will say this: it's really good. Disney character voices, it's on the money and it's got to be in the pocket.
Yeah,
and it's the same guy.
Right.
You know, I mean, I've been doing Pooh most of my life.
Right.
Most of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm old. You know,
and Rusey and Wayne, the voice of Mickey and Minnie, were married.
They were married.
And they were the cutest couple ever.
They were unbelievable.
And they did it till they died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with her on a show called Jakers, and
yeah.
he would come with her to every session, and she'd sit beside me in the studio, and they were the cutest humans. And she'd hold my hand, and she'd look at Wayne, and she goes, "Isn't he handsome?"
I know.
I'm like, "Oh, they're so
know.
cute." And when he passed, she's like, "My hand hurts from not getting able to hold it." And I was like, "Oh my
I
God!"
know.
They are like the cutest couple ever.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a very sweet sweetheart.
So sweet. I mean, most voiceover people are pretty wonderful humans. There are a few that are questionable, but most of us are pretty sweet humans.
One of my favorite things, very early on in my career, I can't remember, but there was people who did a talking doll, Teddy Ruxpin.
Yes.
And then there was another one, Mother Goose. And Mother Goose, obviously, you know, she was an little animatic doll, very impressive little critter. And it was Rusey. And I was kind of like cleanup man. I'd be guard number 3 or the evil knight or, you know, and all these Mother Goose fairy tales that she would tell. And we were getting in doing the Frog Prince.
Oh, okay.
And Rusey, rest her soul, and you know it's true, darling, could cuss like a sailor.
Which was so cute coming out of her.
I know,
she did
coming
not
out of
look
her,
like
you're
that.
going, "Wait, what did you just say?"
Yeah, yeah.
Who's the mother of what now?
Yeah.
What kind of mother was it? And she would... And she could not get through this one line. She goes, "And then when the princess leaned over and picked up the little frog, turned him round and kissed him right on the tip of his little..." And she couldn't get through it.
Oh, that's
And
a
she
tough one
stopped.
to get through.
And she stopped. "Okay, give me 5 minutes. Of his little..." Oh my God, I'm just going to say it. Can I just get it out of me? You know, and then she said it. She goes, and then like 20 minutes later, we had to take.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
she cursed like a sailor.
Yeah.
The voice of Minnie Mouse cursing like a sailor. What is wrong with this picture?
Pretty cute.
God
Pretty
bless
cute.
her. Bless her heart. And you too, Wayne.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, the guys doing it now are pretty darn good too.
Yeah, I don't know them,
Caitlin.
but yeah.
Brett, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's nice when they keep
They
the
keep
same
the tradition,
people because
yeah.
also the fans appreciate that.
Yeah.
The fans are pretty verbal about their favorite
Oh, yeah.
humans doing certain parts.
Yeah.
And I think it's a mistake for Hollywood executives to think, oh, they need an A-lister because that person can only do that voice that way. First of all, I think I've done Harley at least 10 different ways, right? There's like the first video games, and then there was a really, really dark movie where she was like darker than the Joker, and she was from Chicago. And then there was the DC superhero girls, and then there's other video games, and they all range in pitch and intensity and different. Like you and I work a lot because we're very versatile.
Yeah.
So to make the assumption that we couldn't tweak it a bit for a more adult version of a show or for a bigger movie is not right. And I get that like certain names garner big blockbuster money.
Sure.
But it's also, you know, pretty devastating when you've been doing something for a long time and you are a big part of why that character speaks to so many people, touch so many lives, then to not, it's like helping bake the bread and not getting to eat it.
Yeah.
It feels
You're
shitty.
so right.
Yeah.
That's why I was so impressed with the new Rugrats reboot that they just brought back everybody, which I thought was very important.
I think honestly that's why the Powerpuff Girls bombed. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they had all the guys and not the girls. Why?
Yeah.
We're all still
Tom
here
Kane
and
was
funny.
there.
And
I never got that.
made no sense.
I mean, if anything, the guys would sound different other than the girls. I mean, you know.
I think Teen Titans Go works because it's all the same cast.
Yeah.
The original Teen Titans ended at this very insane, pivotal story arc that has not been addressed. And it's actually caused a tremendous amount of stress for the fandom for decades. And everyone's begging for season 6. And P.S., I would love to do it. I don't understand why they can't do it at the same time. Go is a comedy. The OG is a very serious, well-done animated series that definitely holds up. I like the darker stuff. I like the old Batman
sure.
and the old...
Heck
you know.
yeah, me too.
But what I'm saying is it works because they kept us, right? Like even if Powerpuff Girls veered in a different direction animation, and like you're saying, Rugrats went in a different direction, right? It's CG. Keeping the original cast, I think, is essential to enabling the show being successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, you dance with the one that brung you.
Right.
You know, the reason you're doing this sequel or this next season
Right.
is because we did the first one.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And God forbid they pay you.
Right.
You
Yeah.
How have you found the new Rugrats, Tara, getting the old gang back?
You know, it's really funny. So our friend Charlie Adler, who is so hilarious, directs this show. And
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
and I came in to do my part, and well, I was on Zoom the first time, and you know, initially, and it's still this way. All of Dill's lines were in the stage directions. Like Baby Dill grabs Tommy's toy, throws up on him, poops, and goes to sleep, and I'd be like, yeah.
Oh, that
and
is
I'd
so
fall asleep.
cute.
Like it'd all be like the noises that a baby would make doing these things.
Yeah.
And we'd have to like look at the storyboards. And now the beauty is they have, because of computer programming, storyboards that you can watch in real time.
Right.
And so the very first day I was like looking at Dilly and like I had to do a bunch of pooping and screaming and doing whatever. And I just
There's
looked
a phrase you don't hear very often.
I just looked at Charlie and I'm like, you know what? It feels good to put this old diaper back on.
And that's good because he was probably wearing one.
I mean, he could rock a diaper.
Yeah,
he
he
looks
could. He
pretty
could.
good.
Oh, God. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
How has the recording changed from the original series compared to now? 'Cause you came in a bit later in the show's run. You came in sort of like when the peak of the powers, because didn't you debut in the film? Was that when Dill debuted?
Baby Dill came out in the movie. You know, they needed a big story to take it from series to film, and the big story was a new baby. And I had, you know, having two boys now, like, and living through that dynamic, they really did address it in a beautiful way. I remember crying. I had no kids at the time, but I remember crying at the premiere. And I'm like, you can't cry. It's a cartoon and you're in it. But it was very well done. It was very emotional and beautiful. And then we would go to the really, really dope studios, Klasky Chupo on Highland, which had so much history. They did the Real Monsters there, the Rugrats and the Thornberrys. And, you know, when we go to various studios around town, they're lovely. But there was something very artistic and unique and special about this place. And now we're all on Zoom. So, you know, we're just, I don't know that it's ever really going to go back. And I appreciate the fact that we could work during COVID. A lot of people kind of lost everything. And the fact that we were able to, you know, voiceover is the only leg of the industry that really didn't miss a beat. And if you were already set up with a home studio, you're pretty set. And we're still working from home most of the time. I think I've gone in maybe twice.
How do you like that?
I love it. I mean, I love it because, you know, I did the running around. I did all that rat racing stuff. And I live in Malibu for the first time. And there's really nothing quite like living near water. I think we're supposed to.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And it's been very healing for me. Like I went through a painful divorce and I went through a lot of stuff. And like being at the ocean and just regrouping
I agree.
was very wonderful. And it's a little bit far from everything. You're a little far too. And I love my
Yeah, I like
boyfriend and
that
I love
part.
my dogs. And the fact that I'm like, honey, I'm going to work. And I just walk down the hall and then I can play with my animals is kind of great.
Yeah.
So, you know, I like it. I think the only thing that's challenging is on camera, you don't really know how you did. Although I know SAG's fighting for this, so I hope they don't hate me. I like doing the auditions for on camera at home because I'm such a perfectionist. And I've always liked doing my auditions at home, voiceover we've been doing on camera for a while. Yeah. But you know, when you want to memorize something and make sure you're getting it all right and you're hitting all your beats, a lot of times when you go into an on-camera audition and there's a panel of people going, impress me, your nerves take over and you don't do as well as you would have liked to. So the fact that you can do it perfect and send it off is pretty great.
That's funny because I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I love the adrenaline of the judgment.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that propels a character. It's
Yeah,
like,
and also you don't get the feedback, right? The casting director can't say, "Oh, make it bigger or smaller." Like
Right,
you do miss some of
exactly.
that, but I'm not like that. I like especially voiceover.
Yeah.
Since I started when I used to go into the agency, I'd get kind of pissy, and I didn't show it, but I didn't like people telling me what to do in the agent's office, right?
Yeah.
When you get to a callback and the
I kinda
producers
have
are
to
there,
agree with you.
fine.
Yeah.
But it's like I've been doing this since I'm 13.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how to do this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also, I don't want
Ooh.
like to wait for people like listening outside the door.
Yeah.
Like I will spend anywhere from 10 minutes to 3 hours in an audition if I want to make it perfect. I don't know about
that's,
you.
that's the thing too. It takes so much longer. Like when you go in person, it's just like, oh, okay, I got one shot, and like I'm a theater kid, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got to be ready. I got to hit this.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you get 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky, and then it's over. And like, okay,
I know.
whatever. Like the rest is to the wind.
Yeah.
At home, it's like, oh man, I can really. Oh, I can do this better. Oh, I can do this.
I like
you know?
that. I'm a perfectionist. I liked it. I like that. What about you? Do you like going in?
Well, you know, I don't mind it. You know, I haven't lately. I've never been to the agency that I'm with now. Never one time.
Oh.
I mean, I went there literally to say that I went there. But as far as recording or doing anything, nope.
Yeah, and we used to go in a lot.
Yeah, and I miss that. Who are you with now?
I'm still with DPN.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Who are you with?
Well, I'm. By the time it happens, I'll be at DPN. I hope.
Are you coming
Yeah,
home?
yeah.
Are you coming home, babe?
I don't even care. I'm just gonna say
Come on
it.
home.
Yeah.
Oh, we miss you.
Because it's gonna be X amount of time has gone by
There's
before
such
this
good.
is out
This
there.
is live streaming, Jim. So
Oh, okay. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I
well,
love
that's
them.
okay. Well, they know now, don't they?
You know what? I have to say, like, sometimes when you're feeling you're not working a lot or something's slow or something
Mm-hmm.
didn't go well, it's like they call it, deck chair at on the Titanic, right? Like everyone's getting the
right,
same
right.
breakdowns, everyone's getting the same thing. So what's it to you to be wherever you are, blah, blah, blah. And I have to say, like, Jeff Danis, Natanya Rose
Oh, yeah.
are literally my angels. Like when I was
Sure.
going through hard shit, Jeff would like take me to lunch and sit with me. He held my baby for the bris. Like these are my family, you know?
Aw.
And Natanya, I feel like she's a hard ass, but she's so
she's-
fucking
she's a
smart. And I
peach.
feel like
Yeah, I love her.
I said to her one day, I feel like I could be like the little girl in the playground and you're holding my hand and saying telling the bullies like back the fuck up. Like she's just always got my back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
I
she's
think
great.
when you're working with people that speak on your behalf, they should be good humans. I think that needs to
Yeah.
matter. You know.
I'll buy that.